Okay, this is a story about Rebekah and Isaac. It's kind of a love story. God kept the promise to Abraham that he would have many children. God promised that Abraham's son Isaac would have lots of children too. When Abraham was very old, he asked a servant to help find a wife for Isaac. The servant needed to go to a place where the people believed in God, so he went on a long journey to the town where Abraham grew up. When he got to the town, the servant knew that he needed to find the woman who would be Isaac's wife, but he didn't know how to find her. He prayed to God for help. He said, God, I will go to the well in this town and ask a woman for a drink. If she gives me a drink of water and offers to get a drink for my camels, then I will know that she is the right one for me. The servant waited patiently by the well. In the evening, the servant asked her for a drink. Rebekah replied, Sir, here is a drink for you. Let me get some water for your camels too. Rebekah showed wonderful kindness. The servant believed God heard his prayer. God sent me a very long way to find you, he told her. God has a plan for you to marry a man named Isaac. God has promised that you and Isaac will have many children. I have always wanted to have a big family, Rebekah said with a smile. I know that God keeps promises. I will marry Isaac. After Isaac and Rebekah got married, Isaac prayed for children. Isaac and Rebekah had twin boys named Esau and Jacob. Isaac's children were Abraham's grandchildren, just like God had promised. You are part of God's promise to Abraham too. How does that make you feel?
In today's Bible story, there's a story about Rebekah and Isaac. And Rebekah and Isaac, according to the Bible, were supposed to get married. And God had promised and planned that this is what was going to happen, and had promised Abraham that he was going to have a lot of offspring, and Isaac was one of Abraham's offspring. And so part of it is all the people after Abraham are expected to have a lot of children. And so Isaac has to meet somebody and get married and have children. It's important for the story of the Bible that happens. And Rebekah was told by God that somebody was going to come and that there was a promise associated with this person, that the person was going to come and this certain thing was going to happen, and because it happened, she would know that she is supposed to go with this person and marry Isaac. And then Isaac's servant, the person that worked with Isaac, also was told by God a very specific thing, that he was supposed to watch for a very specific thing, for a woman to come who wanted to draw water from the well, and that's how he would know that this is the person that is supposed to marry Isaac. Now, I am going to tell you honestly that I have never had God tell me to go to a place and look for a certain person who's doing a certain thing, and that's how I would know that I should go with them, or that we should get married, or that whatever it is that happened. I have not heard God telling me very specific ways that a promise is going to be lived out, like Rebekah did, or like Isaac's servant did. There are even other places in the Bible where this happens, where somebody believes that God has told them to go and meet a person, a certain person. It might say the name of them, or it might say what they are doing. And there's a number of other places in the Bible where this happens. I want you to be reassured that there are many ways that God works through us, through our minds, through our hearts, through our souls, through our insides. that don't always sound like God promising to be there in a certain way with us. So we can still trust in the promises of God, even if we don't hear God saying to us, oh, go with this person because that's what you're supposed to do. So sometimes when we try and listen to God's voice, it's not in words that we hear God's voice. It's in what God has taught us, or how we understand, or how we believe, or how we love, or the things we've learned from the Bible, and that is sometimes the best way of learning what God is promising for us and what God is asking us to do, or what plans God has for us. I hope you remember that. Have a good day. Dear God, help us to trust you even when we don't know what your promises mean. Amen.